Boom. And we're live on Facebook recording. This is the SHB Unfiltered podcast episode number, Chris?
12.
Number 12, which means it's day number 12 of lockdown in London. We are talking live. This is the only podcast with people who Stutter running daily feeds on social media, open for Q&A. We are the only Stuttering podcast, Stuttering related podcast, running daily podcasts all the way through lockdown. We are quarantined, and if you've got nothing better to do, please tune in for as much as you can and ask any questions, and we will be happy to answer. I'm Ruben Polite, and I'm with my boy co-host. Well, it's just the two of us today. My boy Christopher Jackson, aka CJ. What's good, bro?
All good today. All good. What's happening?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Life is good. It's been, to be honest, it hasn't been the most exciting day today. Been wrapped up in a lot of things, been busy. But I am looking forward to the weekend. Not that I'm doing anything different, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a good weekend. How about yourself?
A little bit there. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet, but you cut out on my screen a little bit. I missed the beginning of what you said.
It's all good. It's all good. To be honest, it hasn't been the most eventful day, but it feels like there has been plenty of progress today in various things I'm doing, work, projects, etc., etc. How about yourself?
Yeah, today was quite a chilled out day. Last night, my sleeping pattern wasn't good. Well, the last couple of days, my sleeping pattern hasn't been great. So I need to get back in a routine. Woke up, went to bed quite late, and woke up quite late this morning. And so it's got me in a bit of a bad routine today. But I did do a home workout, which was a lot more challenging than I thought. It was a person that my girlfriend follows on Instagram, which I thought would be a little bit easier, and it was the hardest home workout I've ever done in my life. But since then, not a lot's happened. Touched up on a few things with work, but took the dog for a little walk, but nothing too much.
How long was the workout? And what kind of stuff were you doing, exercise-wise?
The workout lasted for around 45 to 50 minutes. It was Instagram live, and we streamed it onto the TV. As we found out last night, Instagram only allows you 1 hour of live video time.
That's quite annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's annoying. So yeah, it was around that amount of time, 45 to 50 minutes. The beginning was a lot of resistance band work, working your legs and your bum. And then she moved on to isolated legs, then onto a full
booty training.
Yeah, and
booty training.
hard. It was hard. And then ab workout, which was hard. But yeah, it was good. It was good to get my sweat on. It's cool.
It sounds good, Chris. It sounds very very active. I'm sure you will hopefully sleep better today because you did that workout.
Yeah, I'll sleep better after that. Trust me.
What's been happening? No, I was going to ask, what's been happening with your sleeping pattern? So, what times have you been going to sleep, and have you been with the laptop all night? I remember yesterday we were texting each other at stupid o'clock.
Yeah. Well, up until the last couple of days, I was in quite a good routine. I'd be going to bed maybe 11 o'clock maximum, waking up about 7:30, which isn't too bad considering that I haven't got to get up to go to work. But today, it all went down the pan. And the last couple of days. So last night, I maybe fell asleep about 3 o'clock.
Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I woke up about. Well, I've begun to watch a TV series called Ballers with The Rock. I've always been meaning to watch it, and started watching it. And before I knew it, it was 3 in the morning.
I thought you were going to say Tiger King for a second.
Nah. I started to watch that, but
You gotta watch a few more episodes because I think we need to dedicate an entire podcast episode to just that series. It's flipping insane, man.
how many episodes are in the one series?
I can
Like
check.
6 or something.
Yeah. I think it's worth finishing, to be honest. Tiger King season 1. This is season 2 as well. So there's 7 episodes in season 1.
I think I watched
yeah.
the first episode only.
Just season 1. But these guys are unreal, man. These guys are unreal. They got hundreds of big cats on their ranches, and they just pick them up at the market, buy them, take them home, hug them. One of the scenes I saw was when one of the tigers bit off the woman's arm. So she's been petting them like for her entire life, and then eventually they fixed her up and stuff, and she came back and she just carried on just as you were, just like, oh well, took one arm. I had the second arm there. I just need one arm to live.
Yeah, I was surprised that she went straight back to work. But then, wasn't it him that kind of encouraged her to go straight back to work, so it didn't look like it was
normal? Yeah. Obviously, it's bad for business when your when your exhibits are trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing is based around the big cats. He's got his band, he's got his albums, the merch. They even got like secret sauce and hats and boxes and thongs and everything. It's really insane, man. Really insane. And the best part is, go on.
Oh, go on.
Now I was gonna say the best part is that the lady, I forgot her name, but she's the one who's trying to shut them down. That's why she created it. But everyone hates her. But everyone hates her.
About to ask, because what is the difference between him and her? She's obviously claiming that he's mistreating them, right?
Yeah, but she's essentially saying that they should be in the wild. They shouldn't be domesticated. They aren't wired to be domesticated. They're kind of going against nature in that sense. Okay.
But from what I saw, she was running a very similar operation to what he was, or am I wrong?
I've got to watch a bit more and report back because I watched it. It was a bit late, and I think I was just mesmerized by the number of things going on in that show, the dynamics between the people. Between the people and the big cats, and they were doing dumb stuff like putting poisonous snakes in her post box to try and take her out. And they were talking about it. And they were talking about it as if it's some prank in school or something. Just it's mental, man, mental.
That's not on. But from what I saw, I think it was only the first episode, is that she was claiming, he's making a living off of them, he's mistreating them, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then the clip switched to her operation that she had going on, and she was charging everyone to go in, and it literally looked like exactly the same thing, providing tours and explaining and letting people meet the cats and stuff.
Yeah, I have to watch a bit more, but I think she kind of believes that they are more in their natural environment with her. So they're more allowed to be wild and be within that environment. But at the same time, I do agree, it's really, really weird because there isn't much of a difference when you look at both of their businesses on the outside. So I'm really interested to keep watching and finish off the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, just mental, man. Absolutely
How are
mental.
you getting on with Power?
Stopped end of season 3. We're going to start season 4 today, actually.
Okay.
But season 3 did annoy me a little bit because
I can't remember. What's just happened at the end of season 3?
so he gets arrested for Greg's murder. Greg Knox, the FBI agent.
Okay. Yeah.
So Angie comes into the club and cuffs him and takes him away. And 50 Cent's got his son. Mate, it's some random shows I'm watching, man. But
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
It begins to get good now. Trust me. So, what did you like about season 3?
You're saying that, but one of my friends said it the other way around, as in like season 4. After that, it just gets a bit crap. Really, he said.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would. My
Messages,
analysis
man.
of it would be that the last season, you can tell that it begins to get a bit rushed in terms of time scale that they have to produce.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so towards the end, you can tell it's rushed.
All right. Dude.
Still say it's sick.
Chris, I just checked the Facebook feed and AO has just joined. Let's talk about stuttering quickly. Yeah, man.
Hit hold.
Yeah, how's speech going today, Chris?
Yeah, just always remember that hitting holds.
Yeah.
20. Yeah.
Just yeah.
Is it buh or buh?
It's buh. Yeah. So the real thing I wanted to talk about today, it wasn't Tiger King or Ballers or Power, but we will get to that one day shortly. When I get the right variety of guests on here, hopefully 50 Cent will be available at some point.
Yeah,
and I'll get a tiger as well, just to jump in from an animal perspective. I was gonna say, look, like we've got this coronavirus, COVID-19. What happened to the other COVIDs, man? What happened to 1 to 18? That's what's baffling me. But we got COVID number 19 here, and it looks like it's here to stay for a while. You've got business. We're trying to run with charity, and our charity is built on engaging with people and building a community. And today I was thinking, like, how the hell are we going to do that when things are like this right now? Because even if we come out of like this curve, we pass the peak, things get better in June, July. What's that? So August, September, then October onwards, you've got flu season kicking in. And you know what's going to happen? People are going to get like actual flu and think it's corona. They're going to think they got the COVID. And people are going to get pranged, are going to get worried. And it could come back at that point as well. Because who's to say you flush it out of the country just by keeping everyone at home till June?
Yeah, but hopefully by then they're a lot further on and they have the ability to test a lot quicker, or tests are more widely available, so you can check straight away if it is another wave of coronavirus or if it is just a common flu.
What I want to ask you then is, with the company, are you kind of planning for the worst case at that time of the year? So have you got any
planning for the worst case?
No, are you personally with the company? With the company itself, are you preparing for worst case? Or are you restructuring the way you do things so you are more capable to get clients? Are you going to stay within the same sector?
Well, because
retail.
You're cutting out a little bit. Sorry, mate.
Sorry. I'll don't know what's happening, man. Don't know what's happening, bro.
Yeah,
BT,
no, it's fine.
sort me out. Go
Yes, the answer to your question, are we planning to restructure the way we do things, is we have thought about it, and it's almost like a plan B. It's not something that we really want to do, but if we're forced into having to do it, then we will. And at the moment, we recruit heavily for shop floor workers in the retail space, in the luxury retail space. At the moment, obviously, Westfields are closed, and Selfridges is closed, Harrods is closed, all the department stores are closed, the whole of Bond Street and the whole of Sloane Street is closed. So, as a company, there's not a lot for us to do. But what we could explore more, which we have in the past, but what we could dig more deeper into is the supply of head office staff. So once this comes out, if the dynamics of retail changes, is we could focus on recruiting more office-based staff and more e-commerce based staff. A lot of these brands have heavy IT teams, which we could get involved in the recruitment of that. A lot of graphic work, a lot of garment designers, garment techs. We can get more into wholesale. There's a lot of other avenues, but it could be a good thing, because this plan could allow us to get further into those areas, even if the retail space changes, even if the retail space stays the same. Sorry, it can allow us to have the current retail area that we have, and then we can expand into that if it's something that we decide to. But at the moment, we're planning for the retail space to go back to as normal as it was by October, November time, and then hopefully by Christmas it's almost as it was.
Yeah, because Christmas is your that period where places will take on temps, right? Or would
Yeah,
would the same apply to luxury retail as well?
Yeah,
They take on temps.
Christmas is always our busiest time.
Okay. One thing I was thinking today was, up until then, is there a way for you to stay engaged with your clients?
Yeah, online and through social media is the way that we've been able to keep active. A lot of our clients and the people that we work with are commenting and are liking and are engaged with us on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. So we're still keeping a presence, and yeah, we're still around. But a lot of the companies have put a recruitment freeze in place, obviously, because they don't know what they're going to do with their current staff, so they're not really in a position to take on anymore. But there are the odd job openings that they were still recruiting for before, so we're still working on that. So there's still placements out there. It's just obviously not anywhere near as it should be if times were as normal.
Have you considered engaging to your clients through webinars online? So, like, say there could be a wait for a few months to actually get places to put them in, but up until that period, you could run like breakout sessions and talk through kind of different skills that they may need, and kind of better equip them for the interview process. You could charge a small fee, and has that kind of been part of the thinking?
In terms of the client, no. But in terms of the candidates, we have, and Stephanie's been working on an online-based course for people that, after all this, wish to get into the luxury retail field. So it's almost as if a course for someone who's got no current experience in luxury retail, how to get into it, so that when we put them on the shop floor, they haven't then got to learn it. They're more than competent to get on with the job. Obviously, they'll gain more experience on the shop floor, but we've looked at engaging candidates rather than clients, because clients, I feel like clients have got more to be getting on with, and they're quite, well, obviously they're very experienced in their interview process and they're very set in their ways, regardless of what advice or changes any recruitment company may feel they should make. They're very set in their ways, and they should be, because they work very hard on it. So they have their processes that they're happy to stick with. It's from a candidate point of view, we do get a lot of candidates that have got great attitude. They just don't have the experience or the know-how on the shop floor. And attitude is, we feel attitude sometimes is more important than experience.
Yeah, I think apologies with my part, because when I said clients, I was actually thinking more of the candidate side, because I would see them both as clients, but obviously with yourself in that sector, you have your specific terms for each. Would you think then that it could be better to do the webinars first, then on the back of that, make the online course? So the content that comes out of it and the Q&As that you get from people, then it'll be easier to create an online course to give them at the end of like the 4-part series. They can do a webinar every week for 4 weeks, and then create an online course on the back of all the content and questions from there. I don't know, just a thought.
It could be. It could be a good way to know what candidates feel like they need to learn. That could be a good way. But in terms of luxury retail, it's very much set. So it's very much, this is what you have to know. This is the way you have to work. This is the way you have to operate. This is the cycle of service. It's very set. It's very much like the amount of time you leave someone alone who's just walked in the shop before you approach them, when to approach them or what time to approach them, how to link sell, what to offer them if they ask for something that you don't currently have in stock, how to offer alternatives, how to get their details and follow up, how to go above and beyond on what you should do in this situation, and if this happens and if that happens. So it's very much set. I mean, Stephanie's been in the field her whole life, so she knows exactly what the brands look for on the shop floor and what they need the candidates to be able to do when they go in. Because what happens is we can supply a temp, but that temp has to be able to hit the ground running, because what happens if the temp can't hit the ground running is that you actually lose a member of your key team, because they have to oversee this temp. But the reason why a store would ask for a temp is because they need that person to come in and help out. So that person not help if another member of the team has to babysit them the whole time that they're there, basically. You know what I mean?
Is there a way then for you to create some kind of online class that you can kind of prep some of your temps who would come into that category where they would start but have a teething period? Is there a way for you to, I don't know, because we've been talking about kind of coaching within Stuttering, one-to-one coaching, face-to-face coaching, coaching over Zoom, over Skype, etc. Could you apply some of those aspects to your temp candidates and just kind of like help them get up to
we've already
speed?
implemented it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already implemented it. Everyone that we put on the shop floor, we meet, like, whether that be in person, face to face, or over Zoom like this. If the time scale means that we have to meet them over Zoom or Skype, then we will. And everyone before they get on the shop floor is prepped. They're fully aware of which brand they're going to work for. They're fully aware of what they're supposed to know before they get on that shop floor. We make sure that they know how to behave on that shop floor, and because sometimes it can change from brand to brand. So, you know, what to wear, what look to go with, what makeup style to wear, men, what kind of shoes to wear, what to do.
And the better prep they are, I guess you get like a better trust from your clients because they know that you would place the right people for them. And they'll keep coming back to you, right?
Yeah, well, the client needs to know that you know and you fully understand what type of person they need and what they want. Different temp roles require different things and different skill sets, but generally a brand has a certain type of attitude and behavior that they're looking for. So we just make sure that they have it.
So when is the company podcast starting? Because to be honest, like if I was a candidate and like looking for a job in that sector, and then I tuned into this and heard some of the stuff that you've been talking about just now, I'd find it very, very informative, a lot better than generic things that you read on the internet, like your 5 steps to like kind of a smash this job interview. Because this is kind of the opportunity to engage, because other recruitment companies may not be engaging, or will, as in they'll just be sending emails through LinkedIn every day. But that's about it. This could be your time to differentiate yourselves.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know exactly when the Stephanie Jackson Recruitment podcast is going to launch, but we have spoken about it and we are planning to launch it. I just don't know exactly when. I think once we have a clearer idea of what is happening with the whole coronavirus thing, because we don't know if this is going to go on for another month, another 2 months. I've heard people say like, well, into June and July, we could be in the same situation.
Well, I reckon they will slowly open different things, so that they'll have to open up transport bit by bit, but people are still going to be really wary. They're literally just going to go to work and go home probably pretty much for a while.
Well, I can't. I mean, the situation that we're in, can you really see? I mean, would you be comfortable to walk into Selfridges and just walk around as normal and pick up handbags and touch them and shoes and try different trainers on? And, you know,
you'll be surprised how quickly people put things behind them.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised because, say hypothetically, when we had the terrorist attack in 2005 on the Underground, if that happened last year, then people will still be on the tube today, enjoying themselves. Even the stabbings in London Bridge a few years ago, I've been to the Barrow and Banker a few times still, and to Borough Market isn't like that stopped me from ever going there again. There's a period where it's a bit weird, and then you just slip back into it.
Yeah, the only difference with this is that this is something that can spread. You know, a terrorist attack is, you hope it would be like a one-off freak thing that happens and
once every 7-8 years, right?
Yeah.
But that's the trend here.
Yeah. Listen, I hope that things can start to open sooner than we expected.
The other thing is people have been staying at home, saving up their money, so they're ready to spend it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says, "Oh, but we're going to go through a recession after this." But I remember in 2008 when there was a recession, I believe Stephanie was working in luxury retail at the time. I think she was at Chanel, and she said, you know, people were still coming in spending thousands of pounds every day. You know, so the luxury retail, it's always been known to be a recession-proof industry, but I don't know how it will be affected after all of this. I think people will go out and spend money because they have been locked down for so long, and people have got in. And when everything goes back to normal, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I want to travel, I want to get that, I want to buy that and visit that. So I think it could be a case where people rush to spend as much money as they can and enjoy themselves to make up for lost time, so to speak.
I reckon as well, people who normally shop in those places, you would assume that they are recession proof to some extent, or they won't be as hit by the recession as people a lot lower down on the ladder. Like these guys and girls, they aren't going to go from Chanel and Hugo Boss to Littlewoods, are they? I mean,
no, but what you usually find is that the premium, like there's luxury and then there's your premium brands, and usually it's the premium brands that are affected.
they feel the squeeze, yeah.
Because they're kind of in the middle. So like
they probably catch like the best of the people kind of further down on
yeah, and those are usually the people that are more careful during a recession. So
yeah,
those brands are usually hit quite hard. But when handbags are 4 or 5 grand, someone who's spending 4 or 5 grand on a handbag as if it's nothing to them, they're not affected by the recession. It's the people like
they got to save up for that handbag.
Yeah, like that want that handbag, they aspire to get that handbag, and they've been saving up for that handbag. Those are the people that are no longer going to shop, but those people might usually shop in a premium brand. So that's why I find like premium brands usually are more harder hit than the luxury brands.
Maybe that was a mistake in the first place. They are the type to save for handbags, and there's a lot more other things you could be saving for, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's people that like their luxuries, man.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll go on.
What about you and your industry? How do you feel like at the moment? I take it, is work pretty much, in terms of your role, is it pretty much the same? Has it changed? Do you feel like your workload is a lot less now, or do you find that you're still quite busy during the day? How has it changed for you?
So within risk management and finance sector, it is a bit quieter because the work that drives the things that we do are more kind of strategic transactions within the market. But because market's down, people don't really want to act. Like people who have large assets don't really want to sell, and I guess clients want to wait for market to pick up because that's when they are more likely to get better prices on their deals. So so downside is yes, so things are a bit slower. However, we are always on the back foot generally, so there's always work in the background to be done to kind of like tidy up our shop in a sense. So that's been kind of the driver of the work that we've been doing recently, bless you, is kind of like getting our shop in order and sorting out some things that have been left for a few months now that we just haven't had time to get around before. They haven't been the most time sensitive things, but they are things that kind of need to be done and can improve things. There's always projects going on to improve the way we do things, and this is kind of a good time to make a headway into those projects, because day-to-day activities aren't in full flow at the moment. That there are other areas of banking that are like really manic right now. So you got your like sales and trading business, because the market's down. You have your clients who have holdings and private investments in these companies. They want to protect their losses, and some of my friends are doing like really long hours, and as they kind of are in that part of finance, are responsible for portfolios for wealthy clients, so the type who would actually go into your luxury retail shops.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a mixed bag depending on which area of finance you're in, but overall, it isn't like the best time for business to be done. It's more a case of people just trying to like minimize their losses right now.
Explain what your specific role is in risk. So am I correct in understanding that you have your wealth managers, say, in your bank, then say there's a high net worth client that wants your wealth managers to handle their portfolio, will those wealth managers then speak to you and say, right, I've got X amount of millions of this client's money, I'm planning to invest it in this, and this, and then it's up to you to tell them, okay, well, you're doing this, but that's high risk, you're doing that, that's low risk. Is it up to you to report back to them to tell them if they're putting their money in the right places?
That's kind of like one area of finance, but within large banks, you have different areas. So there is a dedicated group for that, but there's other areas who their focus and their clients are corporates.
Oh, okay.
So in that example you gave, you were looking at kind of managing the assets for a certain person who's very rich, so an Abramovich or someone.
Yeah.
In other areas of bank, their clients would be like Tesco's, Sainsbury's, like as in like these like big companies. So that's their client. So they would be facing the board or the CFO of that company, and they would be helping them to raise finances for their expansions, or if they were paying dividends to shareholders and different types of things. Then there are areas that operate purely for the bank, so they would acquire assets for the bank themselves. So there's different types of things there, and predominantly risk is kind of streamlined across all those areas. So the things that you just mentioned before, which was advising clients on which things to invest in, etc., that isn't really what like a risk area would do. They would kind of be facing the fund managers or the bankers and be advising them on parameters or regulations that they may be breaching if they are too ambitious with certain things. So so the bankers, the fund managers, they would be speaking to these clients. So whether it's a rich person or company, or corporate, or themselves, and trying to maximize margins and profit for both sides. And the risk areas would be advising these people facing the clients, saying, yeah, that's a good idea, but you could take the bank down. or you could be breaching this regulation that came into play 3 months ago. And we are aware of it because that's our specialty. So it's up to like the risk areas to be up to date on their specific part of risk, and then stay on top of it to keep.
Can you talk about or disclose any specific project?
No.
This is what happened.
Yeah. No, man. Sorry, dude.
Can't you just tell us like, for example, if it was Tesco's, you say the T group were looking to do this, and I had to check something out.
It's not a Mickey Mouse program. That's the problem.
I was just trying to get some juicy information out of you.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, like that's kind of the crux of it. And for someone who's got like a speech impediment, it's things can get like tough at times because you are involved in meetings with high-level people, fast-paced meetings.
Talk to me about the challenges of that.
Yeah, like it's constantly talking, conversating. People want answers quickly. People talk really fast. The more senior you get within these environments, the faster people talk. As in, yeah, it's just the nature of it because it's a very time-sensitive industry. Even when it isn't.
Everyone's in a rush. Everyone's trying to get the deal done now.
Yeah, but even if it isn't deal related, because they are used to acting at that pace, they're just kind of like fast throughout. And sometimes implementing techniques or pausing and this kind of stuff, like at the start, it was really hard, right? Because you're literally disrupting a flow of an entire meeting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like just to get a couple of words in, and they better be good, or it's just dead.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have a lot of boardroom meetings, or are they on Zoom? Because I can imagine quite a daunting thing is everyone's talking at 100 miles an hour around the table. Then when you were trying to implement technique at your pace, resisting time pressure, and you want to put your point across, I imagine it's quite a daunting thing where everyone around the table just turns to be like, okay. And
yeah.
Think, wow, this better be a good point now.
You know what I mean, right? So yeah, it does add like another layer of intensity there because you are kind of being critiqued on like the content. And what I learned is their primary thing they care about is what you're saying, because you could be as fluent as possible in the end, or disciplined, or whatever you want to call it, but you aren't adding value to that meeting, then you aren't adding value. But so it's up to me to go in there prepped, do some research and read up on things beforehand, so then I'm a bit more clued up on what the situation is, what the project is, what the discussion point is, and then have some questions prepared and kind of like just be a valuable part of that meeting, as opposed to someone just want to like get a word into practice and speech. That makes sense.
Preparation is key. Preparation is
key.
Definitely. In that environment, like you said, it's very important to be adding value. That, like, as much as we care about working on our speech and improving ourselves, people at work are not really taking on your speech problems. They're more concerned about how you're going to help them to.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, and it isn't anything personal. It's just it's just business in the end, isn't it?
It's work. Yeah, it's just work, isn't it?
Yeah, and going forward though, like I can imagine there will be quite a lot of Zoom calls and remote working, a lot more remote working. Dude, like this flu can come back, and if few people sneeze with the actual proper flu on the tube, are you going to be as, oh bless you, do you want a tissue, or like Get away from me.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see a change in how companies operate in terms of encouraging home working a lot more? Because I know there's a lot of companies that have introduced, I think, was it Sweden or somewhere that introduced a 4-day work week? But I know that,
Somewhere in Scandinavia, because they love doing stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly where it was, but do you think England or the whole of the world really now will kind of follow suit in terms of encouraging more roles to be home working rather
Um,
than having offices? Because there's also a lot of benefit to the company by having a lot of people at home. They can now get smaller offices. They'll save thousands on rent, especially in places like central London. You know, teams that would usually be taking up 2,000 square foot of an office space now can all work from home, and this period could potentially prove that you can still be just as effective at home as you are in the office. So do you think that in the corporate world we are going to see a change in the future now?
there won't be a full change like that. You could get a lot more working from home flexibility if the tech has proved to be successful, because some companies are a bit behind in getting that running properly. The problem is companies have been forced to do it. So when you're forced to do something, you are looking forward to the point when you don't have to do it again. The second thing is, it's different if you are already part of a team, a physical team, and then you've been told to work from home. But if you're being hired and you haven't seen your colleagues, or you don't spend a lot of day-to-day time with your colleagues, then you do lose something from that team, right? So you have to think about it that way. Like quite a few people at work do work from home Fridays. Some people are only in 3 days a week and work from home too, because they are mums and they've got kids. And a few dads as well. There's a guy I know, he's from Birmingham. He's down here Monday to Thursday, work from home Friday, up in the weekend, gets to train back on the Monday. So there is some leeway for that, depending on your employer. But whether it will be the norm to work from home, I think you lose something. Like, you lose something from the whole company culture thing, and like the whole camaraderie.
Great.
You definitely lose something, and especially if you're a small company, it's very different if you're a big company and there's a lot of turnover. If you're a small one, then you will be kind of a bigger part of that company. So it may be even more important to have a good relationship with your team.
Yeah, I think from a managerial point of view, it would be very difficult to instill a strong culture in a team if everybody's working from home. I think it will be very difficult. Not to say that it couldn't be done, but I much prefer to have everyone working in the office. I prefer everyone to be office based, just because the values that you want to keep in your company, you want everyone to buy into the values. And I feel like when everyone's lone working, anything that could rub off on them from someone else trying to instill those values in them, if that person's lone working the majority of the time, it's only natural for them to put their own values to the task at hand rather than taking on and adopting the company's values, especially if they start off working from home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you don't really get the company culture part of it. Because it isn't really like a learned thing, is it? It's something that you unconsciously just pick up. So it's like indirect learning.
Yeah.
The other thing is I learn a lot from asking questions, and it's just small questions. Like if two members of my team are talking about something, I'm like, oh, just asking, I could ask them kind of a bit of background, or if they talking about a specific thing, I said, oh, like you said that, but why? I won't get the chance to hear those conversations if they're speaking on the phone while they're at home.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah. It's very difficult to learn off of others. Yeah.
Definitely. So then
also, it's a lot harder to get tasks done. I feel like working from home, like for example, if you had to ask another member of your team or colleague something to complete your task, it was one small thing. That person could be on another call, could not be at the laptop. You try to call them through Zoom and they don't pick up. So it could take you maybe an hour to do something that should have taken you 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think there's also that challenge when you work from home. If you make it permanent, obviously through this time, people are going to adapt and they're going to accept that is going to be the case. But long term, companies won't accept if things are taking 3 or 4 times the amount of time they should do in the future.
Yeah, like we think work from home as well is a skill that you need to like develop. It took me some time when I started work from home the year before. So with the company I joined, because they have a strong working from home culture, they encourage you to work from home and get used to it. The tech is good for it. So it was kind of like really good in this period where when it came, it didn't shock us. The drastic change or the
because they promote flexible working at your work.
Yeah, exactly. And people had already been working from home before, like every now and then, since they joined, and the tech is good. So compared to some of my friends who had to work from home from their companies, they were struggling. They had to tech was a lot slower and a bit more stodgy and a lot more problems. And when that happens, you kind of can't wait to go back in the office, and you aren't doing things kind of to your best, and that's when it gets a bit annoying working from home. But if you are helped by the facilities, then it makes a massive difference, and it isn't too much of a difference. Maybe if you have 2 or 3 screens at work, but you only have the one at home, then it's a bit slower, or keyboard instead of a laptop, desktop keyboard instead of a laptop, and different types of things. But that can be worked around if your systems are as fast. It's going to be very interesting going forward, because as soon as someone gets a whiff or cough or fever, do they stay at home for 2 weeks, or do they come back after 3 days? I don't know.
It's a tough one, that one.
Yeah.
It is really a tough one. How long are we going to keep this isolation up, or the rule that if you start to get symptoms of a flu, how long do you isolate for? Are we always going to be isolated now? And also what I'm unsure of is, are the UK going to be able to get back to normality if other countries are still experiencing growing cases of coronavirus? I mean, could we just continue to get back to normal and just keep the borders closed? Would that be an option, or do we have to look at what's happening?
That's not normal, is it?
Sorry?
That's not normal then, is it? If the borders are closed.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Exactly. How do you ease your way back into it again?
Yeah. And then for us personally, with Stop Holding Back the charity, this hasn't drastically changed a lot in terms of our year one, year two strategy. There are certain things that could be affected by this, but that can be resolved once lockdown is removed. But to be honest, we are kind of operating on that, on the edge of technology. I kind of see ourselves as like the fintech of the stuttering community, because we are like utilizing different modes of technology to communicate with people, engage people. We aren't fully reliant on face-to-face to be able to coach people and take them through our journeys and take them on their journey to like kind of improve life and improve communication skills. So that's what's exciting about us, that we are kind of geared that way. Do you see any potential pitfalls if we aren't able to fully run our face-to-face meetups and I think eventually we want to like run quarterly, like big kind of workshops and meetups and socials? Do we lose something there if we can't do that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, the way Stop Holding Back, the original idea was launched was through a WhatsApp group, right? So already we were looking at the online route from the start. Through having that, it was only natural that we were attracting people from all over the world. So in terms of helping people, it was always going to force us into doing something like a Zoom call or a Skype call at the time, or even like FaceTime. So in terms of our strategy, like you said, our year one and year two strategy isn't going to be affected too much, because we were always trying to cater for people that we weren't going to be able to meet face to face, or at least initially not going to be able to meet face to face. But it will take away the face to face, one to one coaching, which is something that we all enjoy. It will take away that, but we will have to meet up with people that we're coaching face to face once this is all over, once the government announced that it is okay to do so. But we're just going to have to coach those people online and then pick up later on a face-to-face basis once the government guidelines allows us to do so.
Yeah, and I guess the good thing about this quarantine, the lockdown is, if there's lockdown, then there's a podcast, right? There's daily podcast.
As long as we're locked down, there's a podcast every day.
Every single day live. So I think going forward, we will have to unfortunately reduce the frequency of this podcast, but not until we get the message from Boris, from BJ, from BGZ, from a man like Boris to...
Still in isolation, yeah, he must still be in isolation now. Yeah,
dude, he's probably still shaking hands with all the doctors that he was boasting about. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna stay away from him if I see him, even because
Charles is out of isolation now, isn't he?
Who? Sorry,
Prince Charles.
Oh yeah. I think because he picked it up, but they yeah, I don't know exactly how he picked it up. One story I read was from the Prince of Monaco or something. So some random guy like that. But yeah, it's pretty serious, you know. Like, it's literally affecting the rich and the poor.
Yeah.
And
well,
normally amazing. These things just affect the poor. and the middle. But this literally is affecting everyone and anyone. So
it just proves that everybody's equal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't run from this stuff. You can't run.
Rich or celebrity, sportsman, normal worker, it's just it can hit everyone.
Pandemic, man, pandemic. Final words, Chris. Final words for this very educational podcast. It's been a lot more informative and a lot more civil than some of our recent episodes. So it's always good to get a balance.
Well, we haven't focused too much on speech today. We are more than our stutters, I suppose.
And there's a lot more going on as well in the world, right?
Yeah.
A lot more going on.
There's a lot more going on in the world that we have to also deal with, as well as having to deal with our stutters and work on our speech. So, yeah, we're human beings at the end of the day, so we don't always talk about speech and working on your speech and techniques and mindsets and mentalities. We talk about real life stuff, and today was one of them podcasts.
Yeah, I think you can kind of gauge it because we didn't actually get any questions on the Facebook feed today. So we know our target audience is very, very specific. Yeah. But hey, sorry guys, this wasn't the day for that. This is the day for us to really think about how Stop Holding Back is going to move forward. I've got things to show Chris and Ayo that I've been working on yesterday night, a bit today. So going to really formalize the podcast, take it to the next stage. So I'm very excited to go live with that, and we'll be sharing links to everyone very soon. Apart from that, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be talking about a few more things. Unfortunately, with the virus around, this is quite a sensitive time. A few more 100 people died today.
Yeah,
it isn't something we can ignore, and it is affecting our daily lives in the end. It is affecting the way we work, the way we do things, and it is going to affect the charity. But this is why we are and kind of like bringing up, discussing it, and showing that we are trying to stay ahead of things and get a head start, because other stuttering organizations, I don't know if they are in a place to survive or just operate as they would, but we are definitely
I think everyone's gonna make a difference.
Definitely. Leo has just commented saying, I joined late, guys. Sorry, I've been doing a lot of calling. By calling, I hope it means speech practice, but it's all good, bro. We're just about to wrap up, so you can find this episode on YouTube in about an hour's time when I'm done with dinner and uploading thumbnail created. We need to win that thumbnail battle, and let's keep this rolling. This is episode number 12. Chris Jackson, CJ, final words, bro?
Nice one. We will be back tomorrow, so look forward to it.
Cool. Cheers, guys. This is SHB Unfiltered podcast, episode 12. Still running every day. We committed to it. We are consistent. We have that muscle memory now, and we are rolling into week number 3 soon. Week number 3. Very exciting. Cheers for listening, guys. Thank you very much. And Chris?
You do it. I'll let you do it because I done it yesterday. So it's your turn today.
I hate doing it, but stop holding back.